بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about al-wujud al-dhihni. We mentioned the answer given by Mullah Sadra to the first two objections. Basically, the answer is that mental images are not falling under the same categories of those things that they relate to, that they show, because they are only conceptually identical with them. In other words, بالحمل الأولي. This mental image, for example, mental image of apple is apple بالحمل الأولي, means the concept of apple is there, but it's really apple. Everything about apple is there, but it's not really apple because it's only the concept of apple. It's بالحمل الأولي, not بالحمل الشايع. Then we said this mental image of apple, or mental image of water, mental image of flower, mental image of sky, whatever. This mental image, there is another way to consider it. And that is to consider it as something that now exists for our soul, as a quality for our soul. From this perspective, it is an external being. It's wujud khariji, and it has its own effects. So, it's like a mirror. The mirror does not become a flower when it shows flower, although it shows flower. Don't say it doesn't show flower. No, it shows flower, but it doesn't become flower. But if you consider mirror itself, then it is glass, and it has the effects of glass. It doesn't have the effects of flower because that is wujud al-dhihni, but it has the effects of glass because glass it's wujud khariji, external being. Alhamdulillah, we studied this. Now, Allama Tabatabai says, some of muhaqqiqeen, actually one of muhaqqiqeen, it seems it was Haji Sabzawari, has mentioned something, and with what we have said, we realize that what he said was not correct. وَبِهَذَا الْبَيَانِ, with this account, with this explanation, يَتَّضَّحُ, it becomes clear. اندفاع means, when there is an objection and that objection is refuted. You can say refutal? Yeah. Of what some of muhaqqiqeen, some of the great scholars have said. Actually one of them, because ba'd in Arabic can be only for one also. What that muhaqqiq has said, what that great scholar has said, this is something that needs attention to understand, okay? And then inshallah we will answer. But first we have to understand. It's not good to refute something without understanding, okay? So, this muhaqqiq has made an objection, and we want to see why his objection is refuted. But first we want to understand his point, his objection. He said knowledge to be كيف بالذات وكون الصورة الظاهرية كيفا بالعرض is a problem. Knowledge to be a quality by itself and be accidentally, so essentially being a quality and accidentally being a mental image. He said this is not acceptable. Okay, so he didn't agree with us and with Mullah Sadra, or at least it seems. Let us see what he says. He says, أن وجود تلك الصور في نفسها ووجودها للنفس واحد. The existence of those mental images in themselves and their existence for soul are the same. Yeah? They don't have two types of existence. Everything has one existence. So, وجود تلك الصور في نفسها, their existence in themselves and their existence for soul, the same. وليس ذلك الوجود والظهور للنفس ذميمة تزيد على وجودها تكون هي كيفا في النفس. Now we are getting into the problematic side. But first let's explain what he said. But be careful, this is the part which is becoming problematic. He says, existence and appearance of this for soul is not an attachment that would add to the existence of nafs so that it can become a quality for nafs. Because you know, any quality, any araz should be additional. You remember we said we have mahmulun bil-dhamimah, mahmulun min samimeh. Mahmulun min samimeh is kharij lazim. It comes from, like zawjiyah is not an addition. You know, to be even is not an addition to four. To be contingent is not addition to humanity. But when you say Zaydun qa'imun, qiyam is an addition. Zaydun alimun, ilm is an addition. Yeah? Any araz is addition. Mahmulun bil-dhamimah. Okay. So, he says the existence and appearance of these images for the soul are not additions that would add to the existence of the soul so that it can be quality for the soul. Why? لأن وجودها الخارجي لم يبقى بكليته. Because their external beings, like being flower, being tree, being water, being fire, that has not remained. We all agree, yeah? That the realities of what they show have not remained with it. They are outside. Is it clear? لأن وجودها الخارجي لم يبقى بكليته. Its external existence has not remained at all.
It has not remained outside?
Has not remained in mind.
No, mind.
It has remained outside. It has not come to the mind. وماهياتها في أنفسها كل من مقولة خاصة. So, وجود خارجي is outside. Mahiyat, the qualities of what they show also belong to different categories. It may show Johar, it may show Kam, it may show Kaif. So, wujud is outside, Mahiyat are also not all the same. They are from different categories. وَبِاعْتِبَارِ وُجُودِهَا الذِّهْنِ. And if you look at its mental existence, we said mental existence is neither Johar nor Araz because it has no Mahiyya. La Johharun wa la Arazun. Then it remains ظُهُورَهَا لَدَى النَّفْسِ. He says ظهورها لدى النفس ليس سوى تلك الماهية وذلك الوجود. To appear, to be there for our soul is also nothing other than its own mahiyya and existence. إذ ظهور الشيء, because clarity, appearance of something is not something which is attached to it. Otherwise it would not be appearance of that thing. Appearance of anything is the same thing as itself. So there is nothing else. وَالْكَيْفُ مِنَ الْمَحْمُولَاتِ بِالذَّمِيمَ. But quality is one of the things which are with addition. Like knowledge is addition. Color is addition. Softness is addition. وَالظُّهُورُ وَالْوُجُودُ لِلنَّفْسِ لَوْ كَانَ نِسْبَةً مَقُولِيَّةً. If to appear for nafs, to exist for soul, was one of those categorical relations, كانت ماهية العلم إضافة. It was better to say that the reality of knowledge is relation, not kayf, because kayf has no relation. A'raz are 9. One is kam, one is kayf, 7 of them are relations. وَإِذَا كَانَ إِضَافَةً إِشْرَاقِيَّةً مِنَ النَّفْسِ. If you say, no, it is إضافة, I am sorry, it has become a little bit difficult, but the problem is that sometimes we say something here that later becomes clear. This is why I say when you have all of it, it becomes clear. We have 2 types of إضافة. One إضافة is إضافة مقولية. The relation that we study in the maqulat.
Idafa means addition, isn't it?
Idafa means relation. Idafa means relation, nisbah. One type of idafa is what we study in maqulat, is mahiyya. Is one of mahiyat. It comes in many of a'ras. We have another thing that philosophers called al-idafatul ishraqiyya. Al-idafatul ishraqiyya is not the relation between 2 things. Like the relation between something and its time, or the relation between something and its place. No. Al-idhafatul ishraqiyya is when one thing creates another thing and there is a relation between them. Like sun and its radiation. Radiation of sun has a relation with sun. But it's not something independent. Between them there is relation. Creating the radiation creates relation. It's existential. Philosophers, inshallah, we will discuss this in Wujud al-Rabit. They say all ma'lulat are idafat for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah creates us and we remain in relation with Him. He creates us and we remain in relation with Him. But this relation is different from relation between something and its time or a space. Is different. Yes?
You mentioned that mental existence has no mahiyya.
Yes.
My understanding was that mental existence has only mahiyya.
No. From that aspect, we don't call it mental existence. When you look at it itself, you don't say it wujud as any. From that aspect, you call it wujud khariji. Yes. Thank you. Good question.
I fail to understand one thing. Allah creates all creation and they remain with Him. But He has created people.
They remain in relation with Him.
He can't remain with Him. People like Yazid or Saddam.
They have relation. If they don't have relation, they cannot exist.
So they remain with God?
They have relation with God. Because they are His creatures. All His creatures depend on Him. There can be no creature which is independent from God. Okay? But those things that God creates, some of them turn their face to God, some of them turn their back to God. That's the problem. Otherwise, they all have relation. They cannot be independent. So, al-kayfu min al-mahmulat bil-dhamima. Kayf is one of those predicates which is attached, it's additional. Al-wujud, zuhur wal-wujud lil-nafs. لو كان نسبة مقولية, if to appear and to exist for the soul was categorical, I mean by categorical something related to categories. not categorical in the sense of decisive. If it was a relation which we have in categories, كانت ماهية العلم إضافة. Ilm had to be relation, not كيف. وإذا كان إضافة إشراقية من النفس. And if you say no, it is إضافي إشراقية from soul, means soul creates it, creates knowledge. Then كان وجودا. فالعلم نور وظهور. This scholar, muhaqqiq, has said, knowledge is light, is clarity, appearance, and this is wujud. وَالْوُجُود لَيْسَ مَاهِيَةً. And wujud is not mahiyya. So why you say it is kayf? Kayf is mahiyya. So the whole idea that he says is to question these sowar, these mental images, to be kayf nafsani. He says they are not kayf nafsani. Wajhul indifa. Now we want to explain why this objection is not valid. It's refuted. Okay? It's okay? We continue. أن الصورة العلمية هي الموجودة للنفس الظاهرة لها. Yes, these mental images, these mental images that we have, they exist for the soul. They are clear, they appear to the soul, but from which perspective? From perspective of being wujud al-zihni and compared to outside? No. From that perspective, they are not for nafs. They are not a quality for nafs. So, these mental images exist for nafs. Means they are quality, they are aras for nafs. But لكن لا من حيث كونها موجودا ذهنيا مقيسا إلى خارج. But not from that perspective that they are mental existence and they are compared to outside. لا تترتب عليها آثار, which has no effect. From another perspective, they exist for nafs. From which perspective? When you look at them themselves. بل من حيث كونها حالا أو ملكة للنفس. But they exist for soul from the perspective that they are a condition, temporary or permanent condition for soul, which remove from soul one negation. For example, jahl. When they come, jahl goes away. When, for example, generosity comes, bukhl goes away. وَهِيَ كَمَالٌ لِلنَّفْسِ. And this is a perfection. Of course, please remember, when philosophers say perfection, it has two meanings. We had this in philosophy before when we talked about haraka. Sometimes philosophers, when they say perfection, it has a moral meaning. And sometimes when they say perfection, means addition of something. Addition can be addition of good thing or bad thing. For example, when you are, for example, suppose someone was not miserly and now he becomes miserly. This addition, in a sense, is kamal, means something else has come, but it's not moral kamal. You understand? Don't get it wrong. When they say kamal, they mean a new form, a new being for something. Okay. Form or quality, because form is johar and quality is aras. So, kamalun lin-nafs is something that happens for the soul. Za'idun alayha, na'itun laha. In this case, it's a knowledge, it's additional, and it describes the soul. Hadha atharun khariji. So this is external effect. From this aspect, it has affected the soul. The soul is no longer jahil about this. Mutarattibun alayha. This is the effect which depends on it. وَإِذَا كَانَتِ النَّفْسُ موضوعة لها. And since the soul is a subject for it. But what type of subject? You remember when we studied previous book, we said there is a difference between araz and surah. Who remembers? Surah and madda. Surah also exists for madda, form exists for madda. Araz also exists for jawhar. But the difference was jawhar does not need araz for its essence, but madda needs surah for its essence. So we said if mawzu is mustaghni, then it is jawhar. If it is not mustaghni, it is both of them are madda and surah. Madda and surah, both of them are jawhar, but this is not jawhar and araz. So وَإِذَا كَانَتِ النَّفْسُ مَوْضُوعَةً لَهَا, since nafs is subject for this and it is free from need for it, so it is aras for nafs. It becomes aras for nafs. وَيَصْدُقُ عَلَيْهَا حَدُّ الْكَيْفِ. The definition of kayf then would apply to this surah. So, alhamdulillah, the answer is clear. So the answer is that this surah has two aspects, as we said. From one aspect, it's showing something outside, has no mahiyya, does not fall under any category. But from another aspect, when you look at it itself, it's something which is aras for the nafs, removes jahl from nafs, and it is kayf. Wada'wa, and the claim, if you claim that an laysa hunaka amrun za'idun ala naf, if you say no, nothing is added to the naf, there is nothing additional which is attached to nafs, mamnu'atun, this claim is not accepted, because we feel that there is, don't you feel any difference when you know something or when you don't know something? When you have image of something or you don't have, there is a difference. You cannot say nothing happens. Yeah? فَظَهَرَ أَنَّ الصُّورَةَ الْعِلْمِيَّةِ, that mental image, مِنْ حَيْثُ كَوْنَهَا حَالًا أَوْ مَلَكَةً لِلنَّفْسِ, from that perspective that it is a temporary or permanent condition for the soul, كَيْفٌ حَقِيقَةً, it's really quality. وَبِالذَّاتِ, and it's really a quality in itself. وَمِنْ, essentially, وَمِنْ حَيْثُ كَوْنَهَا مَوْجُودًا ذِهْنِيًّا, yes, if you consider it as something that refers to another thing outside, then you can say, yes, it is kayfun bil araz. It's not really a kayf. Accidentally, we call it kayf because of the first consideration. وَهُوَ الْمَطْلُوبُ. Then we have the third objection. The third objection, I think I just mentioned it. I leave it for next session, inshallah. It's very easy. And maybe you can yourself give the answer. The third objection is we can understand things with different qualities. For example, we can understand something which is cool and something which is hot. If we say that the same things come to our mind with wujud zihni, then our mind has to become cool and hot. Something is sweet, we understand something is sour, then our mind has to become sour and sweet. Okay? This is the problem, but you know the answer. What's the answer?
They come to the mind like purity.
The concept of hot and the concept of cold are in the mind, not the real hot and cold. Yeah, because athar are not there. Reality of cold, temperature is not here. Yeah, the soul has no temperature. Did you know? Temperature is for body, not for the soul. Yeah? So, what is hot or cold? Its mental image is cold or hot just conceptually, not really cold, not really hot. Yeah? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. This is the third objection, but I don't want to make you tired today. There were 2 points asked in break, so I want to mention this. One point was about when we conceive something, when we consider something, sometimes even for imagining there can be impacts. For example, if you drink a liquid which is sour or eat something which is sour, yeah, it has an impact on your body. Yeah, your mouth becomes watering. Yeah, if you have something sour, and if you imagine them, also it becomes like that. So someone may say, you said wujud al-zahni has no effect, but now there is effect. What is the answer? Did you get the question? We said if you have mental image of, for example, sour lemon, has no effect of sour lemon. But the person says, no, when I think of sour lemon, it's like I eat sour lemon. My mouth becomes full of water. Okay? What's the answer? The answer is, it would not contradict with what is said. This is because of association of ideas. Our brain works in the way that sometimes it's through reflex. Okay? So, because whenever you had lemon which was sour, this was happening, then as soon as your brain thinks of lemon, it can have the same effect. It is the brain which is doing this, So brain is affected by the image because of reflex. Is it clear? Like, for example, when you think of food, maybe your stomach starts, creating some, enzymes or whatever, yeah, producing some enzymes. This is because of reflex. The second point, although mental images have no effects of the reality that they show, but this doesn't mean that they cannot have impact on our soul. It's a very important point. If you think of being generous, this gives light to your soul. This gives, energy to your soul. Even if you have not yet been able to exercise this generosity, thinking about something positive has a good impact on the soul. Thinking about praying, about helping people has. And if you think about sinning and doing zulm, even if you don't do it, just thinking about it in the way that there is a kind of attraction towards it, then that's a problem. Sometimes you think about sins in the sense of tawbah. But even if you want to repent, you shouldn't think too much about it, because even in this sense can become problematic. Yeah, it can depress you if you all the time think about sins. We have to be very worried about the sins we have done, but it shouldn't stuck us, in that. So, the second point I wanted to mention is, don't think mental images or concepts have no impact because what they show is, something which is different. No, they have impact because our mind is affected by her own thoughts, her own ideas. Okay? And this doesn't contradict with what we said. It has effect as a wujud zihni, but not because of wujud zihni, because it keeps your mind busy with that memory of that bad thing. In other words, bad memories and good memories have impact, even if they are memories. Okay? So, the effects of the thing which has created this memory are not 100% here, but still they have some impact on our soul, because our soul is not a physical object. Mirror is not influenced by what it shows, but our soul is influenced by what it shows. Even if you stand before a mu'min or you stand before a fasiq, you get influence. So this is the second point I wanted to mention. Yes?
With the wujud al-dhahni that becomes kharij, so firstly, wujud al-dhahni has different properties to wujud al-kharij. But then it said that wujud and the athar of wujud al-kharij is different to athar of wujud al-dhahni. The wujud al-dhahni, number one, I don't fully understand what the properties of that wujud al-dhahni are. Number two, when that wujud al-dhahni becomes wujud al-kharij, in terms of the mafhum becomes kharij, then what are the athar that it has?
Athar that any mafhum has. For example,
is it like what we just explained?
It's a quality. Yes, what I said is also there, but the book doesn't talk about that. Just as a kayfa nafsani, what asar any kayfa nafsani has, this has. This is different from athar of the thing that this is showing. Apple, that's different. Apple has athar, which are different. But this kayfa nafsani, like any kayfa nafsani, has some athar. Okay. You're welcome. Even, for example, one of the athar that they may have in it, for example, when you have exams, based on remembering these mental images, you can pass the exam. Yeah? So you cannot say it has no athar. Yes, they have athar of themselves, but not all the athar of the things which is outside. Okay? We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our knowledge and enable us to understand better the way we can utilize our mental and intellectual capacity in order to move towards Him, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan.